We'll call this work session of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all council members are present. First item on the agenda is our Q1 goal update. This is our last meeting of the first quarter. Jonathan, you want to give us an update?
Mayor, council members, good evening. So update on our Q1 goals. We scheduled a meeting with the Southeast Alabama Regional Planning and Development Commission to talk about public transportation. Councilwoman Rich and Councilman Townsend attended that meeting with Scott Farmer and a representative from their transportation division, which runs Wiregrass Transit. They're in the process right now of scheduling a public meeting at the farmers market, I believe, sometime over the next 30 days or so to talk about that. What they're going to do is come up with a cost proposal for the city of Enterprise to have Wiregrass Transit manage some sort of a public transportation system for the city of Enterprise. As it was explained to us in that meeting, Wiregrass Transit schedules times for people to be picked up from wherever it is that they're located, their home, whatever the point of pickup is, and they have to do that in advance. So it's almost like scheduling a taxi or a bus at times, and that could be one vehicle or it could be 15, which is what Dothan has, as we talked about in the meeting. So how many vehicles we have here within the city obviously impact the cost, but we would not have city employees. We would not be responsible to maintain it. We would just have a contractual relationship with the Regional Planning Commission. They would be reimbursed and be able to seek grants on our behalf for 80-20 or 50-50 type match money that the Alabama Department of Transportation has available through federal transportation funds. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. One of the things the mayor and I talked about over the last few years as we've evaluated this was trying to find a way that we could try this out and have public transportation, but not go full in on public transportation where we had to maintain a fleet and hire drivers and do all these things without really fully understanding the needs. So council members, do you have something to add on that?
We were in that meeting, and I think Turner and I both were impressed with what we were presented with. One thing I liked about it was the flexibility of having them manage this. We can kind of set it up to how we want to start it, for instance, and say, let's see how it goes with this number of fleet or whatever, and if we need to increase or decrease, we have that flexibility. And it kind of, I hate to use the word releases us, but we don't have to manage the operations and do the hiring and all of that stuff. So, and it's affordable transportation, and it's like he said, just like a taxi. I think it would be something good, and I think that I think it'll benefit us. I think we'll.
Yeah, I agree with Sonia. I don't really know what I expected going in, but I don't think I was overly optimistic, but I left there thinking, it does appear there's a path to providing this service without really burdening our budget. And wouldn't you say that's accurate?
That's right. And the cost will come out, and we'll present that once we have a better idea of what that looks like. But it would, preliminary estimates put it somewhere in the $100,000 to $150,000 a year range, and I think that was at around 4 to 5 vehicles. That was a swag. So don't hold me to that, or hold them to that. But that's the kind of number roughly that we're talking about to provide that service in Enterprise. It could be more when they come back and analyze it. Could be less, but that's kind of the I think the numbers that we talked about at the meeting. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. On the animal control shelter, we're still looking at what apples to apples look like on that. The animal shelter is still SOS, which is a representative from Bill Brooks, who was at our strategic planning meeting. He's the person that I've been talking to about no-kill animal shelters and what that might look like for the city of Enterprise. So we know what our contract is roughly and what they provide. What we're trying to find out is the scope of, what are we missing? If we had all the money in the world and could resource a no-kill animal shelter, what would that cost and how many animals are we talking about? And then what other options would there be to contract out with other agencies outside of the city limits potentially that would be able to take these animals? So in other words, if we had all the money in the world and could build some big, huge facility, I think people would think that's great. But the reality is we don't have all the money in the world. And so we're trying to be pragmatic and understanding the scope of the problem to understand that if we can't build something, how can we work out contractual arrangements with potentially other services that are out there? I think one of them that one of you sent me was about Big Dog Rescue or something like that, that was operating or building a facility in is it Macon or
In Macon County, up around the old dog track. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're building a huge, looks multi-million-dollar type facility capable of handling thousands of animals. And so that would be the type of facility we would look at. What does it cost us if our animal control goes out and picks up strays or something to take those up to that facility, and what kind of contractual arrangements could be made. So it's still taking a little longer than we anticipated. So unfortunately, that's where we're at. It looks like the goal was to brief you guys. That's kind of where we're at. We don't have a firm cost yet, though, and it is going to take a little more research on both our parts to figure out and bring back to you. But we are working on that. Engage firm for wayfinding signage. Submit proposal to council. You have that in your packets.
It's the first thing behind our agenda here.
It is. And what I want to mention to you on that is that the dollar figure for that proposal is significantly less than what it would be if we went to another firm. That firm helped us out on the Main Street program. And so they already did a lot of the work behind identifying like color palettes that met, the city's Main Street guidelines. So they did a whole branding guide, and if you remember in that, they had alternatives for some city things that didn't deal with necessarily just Main Street, like the city seal, and they had some color palettes in there with that and some other designs for the city of Enterprise. So this would involve potentially tweaking some of that. And Mariah, if I'm misspeaking, please let me know. Okay. So obviously there's nothing on your agenda tonight to vote on, but if you want to come up.
So just to kind of dive into that a little bit. So the proposal that you're looking at, I spoke with Sean Turpak. He's with Arnett Muldrow & Associates. That's the same company, like Jonathan said, that we used for the Main Street branding. So part of that, what he was talking about was logo exploration. We did receive some city seal examples, and so this would mean that they could take those, tweak them, and then give us renderings of what it would look like on our city vehicles or what it would look like on a water tower someday or something like that. So they will include that. They don't usually include that, but they've offered to do that for us. The next step really is that they would need to come to Enterprise, and they're going to go all around the city and look at what signage we do have, take note of our existing signage, and then also figure out where we need them, where we need signage all around the city to point people to the locations that we want them to go to and we want them to know about. Once they do all of that, they'll go back. It takes about 2 to 8 weeks, and then they will come up with a design draft. And that basically is 2 or 3 design suites. So in that package, you see there's one little rendering of several different signs. That's kind of like what a design suite is. And they give us 2 or 3, and they try to do, here's your least expensive to make, moderate, and then most. And you can kind of mix and match from there. But they help us get that together. And then afterward, 4 to 6 weeks, it takes them that time to really get everything together to make sure that we can just hand it over to a printer and they can go from there. So this proposal is all of the pre-planning, mapping out of everything, but it doesn't include the sign fabrication itself. That's something that we would have to go to another company for.
A lot of that cost is going to be just depending on how many signs we do.
Yes. And they also did say that during this, they do a phasing plan option just to show what that would look like. They tell us what they think we need pretty immediately, and they make that suggestion, and then they show like kind of what a phasing breakdown would look like.
Okay.
So as part of this is the proposal that our recommendation to the council, essentially that this would be the firm we would go with should you choose to do that. We're prepared to move forward in the future if you would like to fund that. With that, I will say that the city's already in the process of building some new facilities, around PV Park, the rec center. We have plans within the budget to make modifications and update signage at like the Weeder Street Park. All of those things also will have signage. And so I do see some value that if we're going to move forward with this, that we not wait until the next budget year,
right,
so that we can get ahead of that and make those signs as uniform as possible. So just something to consider.
Well, unless there's objection, why don't y'all go ahead and get this on our next council? That gives us 2 weeks. Council meeting gives us 2 weeks to review, and we can discuss in more detail before approving it. So everybody okay with it? Y'all are bringing this as a recommendation, right?
We are.
Okay.
Thanks. So the Engage Expert Legal Authority on Land Bank Redevelopment Authority. Again, on this one, I got clearance from the firm Hand Arundel that they would be able to represent the city should we move forward. For those of the council members that participated in the League of Municipalities Economic Development training, this was the firm that briefed us as a group on land banking, redevelopment authorities, nuisance properties, those kind of things. We had funds in the budget to engage legal counsel. So my plan was to, if you're still want to move forward with this, is to bring this on the next council agenda for authorization for the mayor to engage. Again, this is a budgeted item, and I believe it would be one of those things that just kind of at your discretion of which firm you would like to engage. But this individual, if you want to take that over the next 2 weeks and look at it, Ben Goldman, the attorney there, he's published in several league journals on the subject matter that you're interested in pursuing. And if you'd like to look at some of his articles or research on it, I think he would be the proper person for the city to utilize.
Greg, were you there that day or not? So all three of us, you and the mayor, were all there. Yeah. So, all right. Any objection to that being same thing there? Okay. All right.
So the fire chief during our staff updates is going to go ahead and give you a brief on downtown early warning. Construction has started on 3B paving, which you're all aware of. If you want, Glenn can provide an update on that, but it seems to be moving along pretty well if you got any questions about it. Okay. The Phase 2 PV Park project task order, that's on your council agenda tonight for approval. So we would move forward with design and engage Poly to do that. City Hall bid awards, as we discussed before, the bids came in over what we anticipated the budget to be. Our recommendation was not to award those bids at this time. Subsequently, you'll see on your agenda tonight, there's some issues that we need to clean up regarding the Public Building Authority, which it was initially established as part of the City Hall project originally back in 1967-68. That Public Building Authority is still alive and well, but it hasn't met in probably close to 15 or 20 years. So we do need to appoint some new members to that, which all the people on your council agenda, the mayor and I have called to make sure that they were willing to serve. Some other people were called, they were not willing to serve. But that was the group. I heard no feedback or objections, I should say, from any of the council members, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that. That's why those names were up there tonight. Public Building Authority gives us some other tools that we can use in this process as we look to engage a firm to do City Hall. I don't know. Rainer, do you have any other details that you want me to go into on that? Okay. Council, do you have any questions on that? Okay. And then the airport spec building design is complete, and we look forward to having that on the agenda to go forward with bids tonight.
All right, so we did pretty well with our Q1 goals. Obviously, not a lot of movement on the animal shelter. Everything else, it's like we're moving forward on. But the goal was just simply to do some preliminary. On this same topic, we typically meet first meeting of the quarter to set our quarterly goals. Can everybody look at their calendar for the April 4th meeting? Can everybody meet at 4 o'clock on April 4th? Jonathan, any issue with staff on April 4th? Meeting an hour early?
I'm not aware of any issues. Staff, any? No, we're okay.
All right, Beverly, let's just make sure to get that announcement out, corrected to 4 o'clock. And we'll do our Q2 quarterly planning. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. We'll move on to our, which we've already, I realize we're a little behind, but we've already handled this wayfinding proposal, right?
We have. I'd like to maybe sub in 5 minutes for Mariah, and she has some people here from the Young Main Street program.
Well, let's go ahead and do that. Then.
Okay.
Okay, so in your packets for council, there should be the renderings that I sent to you guys probably a couple weeks ago now with the art.
In our big folder?
Yes. With the art for the incubator container downtown. Sorry, I'm making a hunt.
Got it. Everybody see it? Is this what we're looking for?
That, and I think there were a few others there should have been.
Yep.
Yes? Okay. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Rachel Lesh. She's with our Young Main Street Committee to kind of just talk about this concept overall and answer any questions you guys might have about it.
So I'm speaking on behalf of the Young Main Street Group, and which we have 3 other ones over here. We have a 4th member missing, but hoping to get more. So I'm particularly pulled to this project because of my art background with this, and I have a minor in art, and this is going to be our first ever project as a committee, and the design for the downtown, it's exciting, and our concept was discussed with the design committee and design committee chair, so Adam McAllister, and then executive director of Main Street, Mariah. And our mural was created with the purpose of attracting tourists and residents alike. Enterprise is always the drive-through city, never the destination, and we'd actually like to help change that. And especially since downtown is one of the biggest assets to Enterprise. Since it's our first project, we wanted to keep the design broad, and especially since the businesses of all kinds will occupy it all throughout the year. And the idea actually came from the slogan that Downtown Enterprise has, which is deeply rooted, ever rising. We chose to use this because we want to promote the growth of the businesses. And the rising sun kind of represents a new day, new opportunities, as is the whole identity of Enterprise. And the floral sides also represent growth and the roots, which is the whole idea of the business incubator to begin with. And the deeply rooted ties in with the idea that Enterprise is rooted in community, and this mural is a community project utilizing skills and talents of artists and with the help of other volunteers as well. And by having the bright colors of the mural, it will encourage the people to stop and check it out. It catches the eye. It's also having the selfie station will also help to promote downtown Enterprise on social media platforms, having that hashtag. And keep in mind that this is a concept and the final piece may differ from what you see on your papers, especially since the incubator is corrugated, so it has a little bit more texture instead of just the flat. But overall, the whole idea of this business incubator is to promote the growth for the small business, which in turn promotes the growth for downtown. And this is a great first step to get to that point. And if you have any questions about the design,
I'll defer to somebody else on the design. I think it looks great, but
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm just curious on Our Lady with the dark color instead of being like we see her all the time in the white with the bug on top. That's one thing that drew me to it. And then now these colors, this is what the color is going to be.
the lighter color ones.
Okay,
The second
how's
page,
that going to look on that blue? I mean, is it going to?
the blue will change slightly, but because you want to have the ombre effect to it,
Yeah.
so you'll still kind of see it at the top. But
I
that's
wasn't sure about the rising sun with the things going out. That just threw me for a loop a little bit.
yeah, that's still
Remind
gonna
me of a flag or some other things, you know.
with the white in the between. It kind of will cover that whole idea of the rising sun. And plus it's not even red, so it'll be covered with all the floral and the roots.
Now, will the business be able to have their logo? I mean, someplace so that
So
you may have to change it when a new person comes in there.
yeah, so the doors that when you open the actual front
Right.
doors, you have the doors on the side, and
Right.
there's white right there. It's as of right now, it is dry erase marker. It's like dry erase board, so they can do whatever out there. Everywhere else is just a general mural, and people can take pictures, open or closed.
Will that back piece cause any problem with the alley out there?
So we actually are talking
Because it looks
about-
like a selfie place. I mean,
it is a selfie
is it?
place.
Okay.
It's not. We're gonna move the incubator up just a little bit, the container, and that location always kind of can change. But we'd like to move it forward just so that people aren't standing in the alley trying to take a
Yeah.
picture. But it shouldn't cause any trouble for the business itself. We were just a little concerned about the traffic part.
Yeah, that's my concern. And again, Our Lady on the front with that, I still think it ought to be white. I mean, that's my opinion.
Well,
Instead of being so dark, it's just,
So from an artist perspective
Uh-huh.
standpoint, you know how the sun's in the back, and you're
Yeah.
kind of darker in the front when you take a photo. So it's going to be kind of dark, but also you already have the white of the statue. We don't want to necessarily outshine that actual statue, which is down the street a little bit. So if people see that, they'll see that, and they can take photos with it and whatnot. But then we can also, it'll direct them to the actual monument too.
I guess I'm just so used to seeing her as the statue, without something like that.
We don't necessarily always want to fully bring that central idea of the boll weevil. We didn't want to, since it is what we use the most, and I know that we're most known for the boll weevil. We're the only bug. We're the only city with a bug. But we wanted to at least have nod to it, but not completely.
Have you thought about the weevil things that they're putting out there? That's a totally different design. The weevil. Yeah. From Weevil Way.
Oh, more weevils?
I mean, if you're trying to stay away from using the white all the time, I mean, there's a novel idea.
I think the color schemes, again, they're kind of up for debate. The most recent rendering with the words on the inside, we've talked about potentially changing the background color of that to a lighter color, and making the words themselves darker instead of the
You're talking
lady
about the
being
deeply
dark.
rooted in the statue.
Yes, in the statue.
Yeah,
That
that'd be hard
might
to
be
see.
the case. So we'll kind of I mean, we're still kind of tweaking that. This is more so just about the concept. And I will say that the front doors with the lady, they're not going to do that anymore. I think they were switching it to flowers. So it's really just, she won't be on there twice. She'll be on there once, and then we'll have the flowers wrapped around like you see in the other part.
And this blue for the south side,
Well,
the square.
the container is blue.
I mean, what are these things right here?
Those are the windows and the door
That's the
on
windows.
that one
Okay.
side.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought maybe something's missing. All right.
Those are great questions. Anything
The,
else?
the only thing I would want to, the thing is loud to me already. Just thinking about it gives me a slight headache. So, I would want something to taper that color down. But I like the design, but it's loud.
That's kind of my point.
Mhm.
Is we want to attract people to it, and it's eye catching, especially when you're driving down. I mean, have you
And
seen,
I just got some negative feedback about it already, so that's why I'm
have
kind
you
of.
seen the incubator driving downtown?
Mhm.
Has it do you notice it pretty quickly with that bright blue?
Yeah, but not pleasantly noticed it.
Okay. Okay.
That's
We're
just me.
hoping, what I will say, and this isn't really what we're talking about, but we are going to put out some AstroTurf and games and things out front to really kind of tie the whole space in together. So yes, I know right now it is a very bright blue. But with the mural incorporated and with the surroundings, we're hoping that it'll all balance out. The paint is also being donated by a local company too. So, I mean, we're not spending a ton of money to try to change it. We're getting that donated and we're having volunteers do it. So we're hoping that we'll be able to tweak it as much as we need to.
I'm sure y'all will work it out. Help.
Anything else?
Can I add something?
Yeah,
I'm just glad to see these young people involved, and for them to be an artist, I have to trust them because I have no artistic ability.
And well, speaking of the artists too, it's we want to incorporate all of the bigger artists that Enterprise has known, like Katie Hughes. We're wanting to try to get them involved as well. So make it a big community.
Thank y'all very much.
artist.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna call an audible here. We're gonna skip our review of our agenda, and we're gonna review our agenda as we work it in our regular meetings. So let's move on to the County Board of Equalization.
So in your package, you'll find I think something from the Department of Revenue in the work session packets. Sorry. And that was something that we were sent that says that as the largest municipality in the county, we need to we're tasked with selecting 3 members or nominees to serve on the County Board of Equalization. And speaking to the Department of Revenue, their commissioner actually makes those smaller municipalities submit 1 nominee. It looks like this, Councilman. Yeah, that's it. So we currently have 1 person. Forrest Warren is the person from the City of Enterprise that serves on the County Board of Equalization. Reached out to him to find out if he was still willing to serve. He is. Still doesn't negate the fact that we need to come up with 3 names.
So he would be one of the 3 if we put him forward.
if
It
you
could
put
be
him
one.
forward.
What was his name again?
Forrest Warren, Warren. Anyway, we don't get to necessarily annotate a preference. They select from that list. The Department of Revenue does, Commissioner, and it's comprised of nominees from local boards of education, municipalities. The only difference is, as the largest municipality in the county, we have 3. The other municipalities would have 1 nominee. So
3 nominees, but only 1 that's selected.
typically,
Yeah.
I guess they can
They could
select.
select any of them.
Right.
So we're just creating the nominee pool. And
That's
then they
correct.
select how many out of that?
That's correct. 3. There's
3.
it's 3-member board.
3 members.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What does this nominee do? I mean, what does this board?
So the easiest way that I can understand it is the Board of Equalization hears cases, and Rainer, you may want to correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's disputes in property values So if the county were to assess your home or business value at X, and you disputed that, County Board of Equalization would hear that case and make a recommendation or determination. Is that so? As to the true value of the property, so they could lower it or increase it.
So, I guess the council working with the mayor and his staff, we need to come up with 2 additional names.
Yeah,
as long as everybody's okay with.
Given that this
renominating.
isn't our normal kind of board appointment process, I didn't know what would be easier or what your preference would be if you wanted, the mayor's office, or you wanted to come up with some process. How would you like to handle that?
Is anybody opposed to allowing the mayor to bring in us 2 more names in addition to Forrest?
No.
Since this is a state appointed issue, so yeah, why don't we do that? Of course, we're going to be handling board appointments in the coming meetings anyway, so
Okay.
we can do all that at the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that it on Board of Equalization?
That's it.
So there's a request here from Jonathan and Rayner to go into executive session to discuss a good name and character for approximately 20 minutes. Anything else, Rayner? All right. So I will entertain a motion to go into executive session concerning good name and character.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll be back in about 20 minutes, and we do have some discussions regarding board appointments, and then we'll adjourn to our regular session at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely do that.
I think Barry's giving us an update on that tonight. What did I just do with my notes? So they're there. We should have come at 4:30 today.
I think so.
We might be here till 8 o'clock.
Recording TV. I figured we're gonna be long.
All right, we've got one last item in our work session before we adjourn from our work session. So if we get the room in order, the last item on our work session agenda is our board appointments, which we've got upcoming in April. We traditionally, or the last few years, have tried to handle all of these at one time, as many as possible. So I know Jonathan's been working with all of us over the last few weeks to make sure everybody knew which openings were coming and whose turn it was to produce a nomination. Of course, everybody will have the ability to nominate from the floor when we do this, but so I'm going to go through the list. We've got Board of Education, Mr. Paget. Who do you plan on nominating?
Keith Wood.
All right, Keith Wood. And Zoning Board of Adjustments. That's seat number 4. Miss Rich, who do you plan on nominating?
Steve Nagy.
All right, and that's he's currently serving in that slot. Mental Health Board, that would be also Miss Rich.
Frank Page.
Frank Page, who's also currently serving in seat number 2. Mr. Goolsby, the Airport Authority, seat number 2.
Greg Paget.
Greg Paget. All right, he's currently in seat number 2. Then we've got the Industrial Development Board, seat number 1. Mr. Paget, that's yours.
Rob Rhodes.
Rob Rhodes, who is currently serving in seat number 1. Then the incubator, seat number 2, Mr. Johnson.
Neil Brown.
Neil Brown, who's currently serving in the same seat. And Zoning Board of Adjustments, that was seat number 3. That was my slot. I'm going to nominate Chris Rogers, who's currently serving in the supernumerary, one of the supernumerary slots. I'm going to nominate Chris Rogers for seat number 3 to replace Jackie Hawkins. And then I will nominate Jody Linton to take Chris Rogers' supernumerary seat. So we've got all those names read aloud and entered into the record, and we will address those at one of our April meetings, more than likely the first meeting in April. We'll dispose of those. So seeing no other business on our City Council work session, I will adjourn, and we will reconvene in open meeting in about 60 seconds. We have a pastor here. I was just making sure. I lost my sheet that said whether someone's going to be here or not. All right, I've got 6 o'clock. I will now call this City Council meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all council members are present. Will you please rise with me for our opening prayer and pledge of allegiance?
Heavenly Father, we come before you just humbled and are so gracious for this moment in time, in this present moment. You are Jehovah Jireh. You are the God who provides, and you have given this city a council, and you have placed people here for a reason. So God, I'm just so thankful that you have given us the opportunity of where we're at to still honor and glorify you with no persecution. So, God, we want to lift up tonight that any decisions, anything that needs to be done is done to glorify your holy name. God, we want to worship you with all that we do, with anything that is done from this point forward in the city of Enterprise. And we give you all the glory and all the praise. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, Council, you've got a copy of the agenda that was distributed on Friday. There were a couple of additions that everybody should have had a chance to review. I know we did not review this in the work session prior, so we're just going to have to take a little extra time on these agenda items to make sure we discuss them. So I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Need to add anything? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by a request of a member of the City Council. I will now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now have privilege of the floor, which is the time when any members of the public who are present tonight to address the council with anything that's on their mind. I believe we have some folks. Yes, sir. Yeah, come on.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Howell, Southeast Construction Company out of Geneva. We own the property at 1750 David Road, and from my understanding, it's been a source of some conflict and controversy the past couple of weeks. So, first and foremost, I just want to say, we apologize for any inconvenience this has caused to the council, mayor, residents who live on that road. It was not our intent to cause any disruption. We want to be somebody that's positive for the city and not hurting the city. So just kind of briefly how we got here. We were awarded the project at Enterprise State Community College. Had quite a bit of bar material on it. We found that piece of property inside the city limits. It had been an existing pit at one point in time. We talked with Mr. Mott. At that time, there were no ordinances disallowing any type of pit inside the city limits. So we decided to move forward. We purchased the property. We really had no idea it was going to turn into the volume of dirt that it did. The contractor that was doing the aquatic center for the city approached us about buying material from that same pit. And so it kind of just ballooned on us a little bit. And I understand there's been frustration. That's not what we want. And so Mr. Mott and I have been working together the past couple of weeks. I've met with the county. We're sort of transitioning into a different haul route, so we don't have to go back south down David Road. We're going to start going back out towards 84. And so I think that solution has been pretty positive the past couple of days. It's not perfect, but I appreciate everyone's patience in this. And Mr. Mott has my contact information, and we look forward to continuing to work with him and with the city. If anyone has anything they need, please feel free to reach out.
All right, thank you.
Just let me caveat what Jeff is talking about. On David Road, there's two access points, right, from David Road. One goes down to City Road, which goes back to 3 Notch. The other section, it's a short piece of City Road, but it goes back to County Road, back out to 84. So Jeff and his company has worked with us. The main concern that we've heard over the last couple council meetings is people are concerned about the number of trucks, the truck traffic in front of their house, the amount of dust and dirt, and also just the rutting and not be able to get a vehicle down there. So what we've done is we have posted no through truck traffic on that section of David Road from where that intersection is between those two sections of road back towards 3 Notch. Jeff has agreed to take all the truck traffic there and send them back towards 84, and there's no homes located from that intersection back to 84. So that'll eliminate that truck traffic along that section of David Road. We've also gone out with Public Works and we've regraded the road today and re-wet that road, dressed it back up. So it's in pristine condition as it can be for a dirt road today. So we shouldn't have any more truck traffic through there. As Jeff and I talked a little bit earlier today, occasionally some of these trucking companies, they swap out drivers. And so we may get a new driver there, but he's agreed to get some posting and some placards there at the pit saying, please go back, I guess, to the east or back towards 84. Don't go back towards 3 Notch, to kind of keep those drivers. We can't guarantee that no truck driver will come in, but if they come in empty, we want to, when they fill up, at least we can catch them and go back the other way. Plus, we got the no through truck signs on that section of road. So we're working extremely hard. Talked to the county. They're good with them using that section of road from the pit back towards 84. So we'll keep an eye on that section of road with the county and do what we can to help them keep that road in good condition. The one thing I would ask, and I was going to do it at staff reports, but while I have the microphone, is I plan to go talk to the residents along David Road if they'll use that section back toward 3 Notch for the next few weeks while they're hauling the majority of the dirt that they've got to get out of there. It would help not having two-way traffic on that road. But all the trucks, I was out there this morning watching them. They come in together, they park together, they have radios, they check each other, and there's nothing on the road. So they come in as a group, they fill the trucks up together, they leave as a group, so there's not two trucks passing on that same section of road. So just want to thank Jeff for him working with us, trying to come up with a solution to hopefully take care of the issue at hand.
Okay. Any questions of Barry? All right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Jacob Palmer. I live on 308 Sanders Street. I'm here today because of a citation for my loudness music. If you don't give me a second, I want to demonstrate that what music that I played when the cops gave me a ticket. If you don't mind, just for a minute, and then I want to go to the help your children. I played that music right there on Martin Luther King Day. Now, many people are first, most of all, I'm not white, and I'm not black, and I'm not yellow. I'm not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I'm not self-dependent myself. I'm not a Baptist. I'm not a Muslim. I am a man of God, and that's who I serve. I serve the Lord. I drive a van, goes in the poor neighborhoods, in the neighborhood that where the poor people's at. I don't go into the rich neighborhoods. There's many places that I go to serve for the people. Many people have stopped me for prayer. Many have stopped me for a Bible. Some just stopped me, just give me a donation. Now, I have been several times harassed by the police, or even that I got that ticket on Martin Luther King Day. Now, I've been driving around here in Enterprise almost 4 years with my van. I've been to Montgomery driving with my music on, playing this type of music. I've been to Dothan playing this type of music, and never got stopped until here in Enterprise. Now, this is what I'm saying. Now, the noise ordinance. If you're going to give me a ticket for noise ordinance, first, most of all, that person got to have some kind of meter to let me know how loud it is. Police officer can come out there and say, hey, your music turned to it. If the police came to me and said, hey, Mr. Palmer, if you turned down your music, if it was too loud, I would have turned it down. But they had attitude. Well, if they get attitude, I get the attitude. I'm going to serve the Lord, regardless what. Now, there was time that when y'all got ready to be voted in, y'all come on my street blowing your horns. To me, that's noise ordinance. But that's what y'all do. I'm not here to criticize no one. That bell down there at the church, it rings 24/7, all day long. I can hear it miles away. Noise to me, yes, but I don't worry about it. Nighttime around about 12 o'clock. Only thing I hear going boom, boom, boom. That's all I hear. But I can't call it in because if the cops come by, they're going to be gone. But let me say this to him. I am a servant for the Lord, and that's what I do. Now, I went down there for this ticket. It was supposed to be on the 16th, on that Thursday. When I go down there to talk to them about that ticket, they tell me that the police didn't show up, say he got some other thing, business to take care of. Well, when I walked into the court place, they tells me that, they called me and told me that they canceled it. I said, how is it that you canceled? I have not talked to you. Well, we canceled it. And then they want to argue with me about someone that talks to me, and I have not talked to anybody. Well, when I got the letter the same day on the 16th. They want me to have trial April for noise ordinance. Now, I got things I have to do too. Everybody, you put your pants on just like I do. I'm not here to try to raise sand. I'm a peaceful man. I got pulled over down by the Bo Weaver one time before walking with my cross. They stopped me saying that I'm protesting. I wasn't protesting. I'm just walking. I get pulled over. The people say my attitude because I got a loud voice. Yes, I do. I got a heavy voice and it's loud. The police pulled me over. The police taught me one time. He was telling me that my voice is too loud. And he said, he's going to get me for disorderly conduct because of my voice. And I told the officer, well, you want to get me for disorderly conduct? Well, I'm going to start singing. Then he's going to ask the other police officer, talking about, well, he must be a preacher. See, they call me many things. They call me preacher, bishop, whatever they call me. But I am a man of the Lord. I come here to serve God. That's it. I come to serve the Lord. Now, they said it's okay for that church bell to ring downtown. Well, I'm going to play my music. Now, that, like I said, if there has been anybody on my side of town or whatever, the counselor here, somebody would have told her. If the police, they know me. They could have came by my house and talked to me. I would have listened to them. But when they started harassing me, since I've been here in this town right here, I've been trespassed against. They tell me to get off that premises, places that I go and help people, your kind of people. I help. They didn't want to pay me my money. They had me arrested trespassing because they don't want to pay me. I go get my tires fixed down at the tire shop. They turn around not doing what they're supposed to do with my tires or whatever. They get mad at me because of my voice. I speak my opinion about what I feel that is right. Then they call the police on me. They want to have me trespassing. Justice gonna be served. I'm only here to do my Father's business. That's it. I'm gonna do whatever my Father asked me to do. I'm gonna do so. The captain, I talked to the captain. I talked to the lieutenant. Is he the sergeant? He's a captain, and I think it's whatever the head chief. I talked to them. They feel that I got my voice is heavy. Then they want to say I got an attitude. This is the way I talk. I am a very loud man, and I'm not going to change for you or the police or the enterprise here. I went to Bear Cooper. I went to his office several times to try to talk to him. I didn't get no phone call. Only thing I'm asking y'all is, let me be who I am, and I'm going to be who I am. Only thing I'm saying is that bell down there gonna ring. I am a church. I got a mobile church. That's what I do. Like the ice cream man comes by with his nose, ringing for ice cream in the summertime. You hear him 2 blocks away. But they got a problem with me when my band roll around playing gospel music. I'm not playing no other kind of music. Now I would please like to come to the aggressors to the council to let them know. Stop harassing me. That's it. Let me be who I am. Because this right here is not right. That's all I'm asking. That ticket they gave me on the 14th or whatever, that's a too short a notice. They should have thrown it out the court in the beginning. Because therefore that was 2 days before. They should have thrown it out. Only thing I'm just saying again, I'm going to be who I am. I am the man of God. Like I said again, I am not white. I am not black, and I'm not yellow. I am a true man of the Lord. God sent me here. He sent me here. He sent me here. And I pray today that y'all, each one of you, see that what's going on in this town here. I'm not pointing no fingers at you, because I got several fingers pointing back at me. Okay? We all got to straighten ourselves up. Every last one of us. And that's what I do. I go out there to the poor, to the fatherless, to the homeless. I see. And it tells me many things that what goes on to here. But the only thing I can do is pray for them. That's it. So I'm addressing this to y'all. I am a man of the Lord.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to address? If we could limit it to 3 minutes, please.
If I can. Good evening once again to the mayor.
Yep.
Good evening once again to the mayor and to each of you.
Pull it down just a little bit more, please.
My name is Pamela Fleming, and I live here in Enterprise on David Road. Tonight, the community of David Road would like to thank those of you that have shown concern and have made an effort to work on some of the issues that we have on David Road. We strongly also want to point out that even before the trucks had traveled up and down David Road, we had problems when it rained, when the sun shined, and even at nightfall, meaning the dust that affect our greatest investment, our health, our homes, our cars, when we have to travel at night, the lighting. So our question tonight is once again, when will we have lighting? Because we were promised that we would get lighting. Has something been put in motion for that? And has something been put in motion for paving our road? Also, we've noticed how other roads that are being repaved, they're in better condition than David Road. They don't appear to have any unsafe issues. So why repave roads that are in worse condition than David Road? And is there a way that you all can attain some type of funding? Because you said it was like $1 million project to pay the David Road due to the condition that it's in, because these issues that we have affect us daily. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nobody else?
Good evening. This is I'm Johnny Hutchison. I live on Clay Road, and once again, I'd like to thank y'all, Shannon and everybody for what they're doing, and like y'all consideration for what we're going on out there. I thank the guy that bought the pit for considering us to go out the other way. Like I say, there's no houses on that end. There ain't no sense crying over spilled milk, but I couldn't see why they couldn't go that way the first time, But like I say, thank y'all for what y'all done, and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If you could state your name.
My name is Ruby Rocha, and I'm going to talk about David Road also, because the dirt where we live like right next to where they're digging up the ground, but sometimes the mail trucks don't want to send us our mail because like the dirt is like when it rains it like dissolves, and then the mail drivers get stuck. So we want to know if y'all can like fix the roads or do something about it, because sometimes they won't send us our mail because of that. Even before the trucks came, it was always like that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? That she was David Road also, yes. All right. Seeing no one else that wishes to take privilege of the floor, we'll move on to staff reports. I know we've got several staff reports. Chief Moore.
Yes. So let me real quick. Obviously, I'm not going to comment on a case that is still in the courts that we're anxiously awaiting an answer to. However, for y'all's benefit, benefited people at home, noises, it shall be unlawful and constitute a nuisance from any person to make, create, or maintain any unreasonable, loud, disturbing, and unnecessary noise or noise of such character, intensity, or duration as to be detrimental to life, health, comfort, or repose of any individual within the city or its police jurisdiction. And scroll down to loudspeakers, amplifiers, or for advertising, etc. The use of operation of any radio, receiving set, musical instrument, phonograph, loudspeakers, sound amplifier, or other machine or device producing or reproducing sound which is cast upon the public streets for the purpose of commercial advertising or attracting the attention of the public to any building, product, service, merchandise, or political candidate, always using such operations. Use of any drum or other instrument or device, purpose of attracting attention, yelling, shouting, hooting, whistling, singing on public streets. So there's plenty of others we're in violation of. Finally, the reason why we have the church bells, it actually says nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit special performances by a band or orchestra in a hall, building, or the open air after proper permits have been obtained from the chief of police. Nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit the ringing of bells or chimes by churches within the city. So kind of the constant theme I think that I heard from the back, and I know because I've dealt with Mr. Palmer for a minute or two, is we've got numerous complaints. We never issued a citation to him or anybody else without constant complaints. I know the booming in the city. Mr. Goolsby has brought it to our attention. We write citations. I've even written citations as a chief for those booming music, and that is an aggravation. We certainly are addressing that as much as we possibly can. However, the theme from before was it seems like every time we go, we get a complaint. We do have to respond because we're summons there, and we do give them an ultimatum of either leave or go with us. So, and this is in the past 4 to 7 years or whatever he said he's been here for. So that's just some information for y'all to mull over. I think we have a very professional department. We are very recorded and very open in what we do, and we've all attempted to talk to him, and that's all I have to say. So, all right.
Thanks, Chief. Barry, you got some staff reports.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I got just 2 quick things. Just to follow up on David Road. We did contact about putting lights on that road, and the engineer's supposed to come out later this week to analyze that street to get lights put on David Road. So we'll have lighting on that like any other city street would do. We've also I got the address of the lady that came up 1741 David Road. Shannon and I had already talked about this, and we've already worked it out. We're gonna go down and pull some sand, just natural. The dirt along that road is very sandy. And as any traffic goes through, it just rolls up into almost like a mound. And the pit's already agreed to do that before today. We're going to take all that sand out. We're going to roll in some clay and compact that in there so they won't have that issue anymore, getting in their driveway and getting their mail delivered. So we're going to take care of that ASAP. So I appreciate them coming tonight. The only other thing I was going to tell you is the rec center is coming along. If you've been out there, it's coming along very well. Did talk to the contractor today. They're going to start where Swenson Road comes in, which is the road, the main drag coming in between where Cuts is and the maintenance facility that went straight up by the pool towards the front door of the old rec center. They're going to be doing some work on that section of it. So you've already voted to close that portion of the road, but the contractor will be moving fences. We'll be coordinating starting tomorrow with the property owners so they let them know that traffic will be changing. We'll work with staff to get that word out on our Facebook page.
Business owners and the property owners will be put on notice.
Yes, sir. And we'll meet with Cuts, of course, being the business right there that'll be the most affected, and the property owners along that street. Let them know that section of road, we're going to vacate that section. The contractor will be putting a fence up across there so they can start to work on that project.
Is the area where Cuts parking lot now is in front of their business, does that belong to them or the city?
It actually belongs to Cuts. To the business, but it is part of the project. So one of the things we did is when we looked at that project, determined that it's a win-win for the rec center and it's a win for Cuts for us to look at that parking area as one large parking area versus 2 individual type parking areas. So part of the project will be to lay out the Cuts parking lot by their building, and we'll be improving that area as part of the rec center. So, and they've agreed to those plans. We're actually meeting them at 8:30 Thursday morning to go through the final set of plans and catch them up of where we are on the construction process.
It's simply a joint use like we have
It is.
another couple of parking lots.
We did, and they've agreed to allow us to use their parking lot. When they have their busiest traffic is at lunchtime, and when we're going to need that parking lot, it will be an area, a time of the day when they won't need it. So it's a good use for both of us, and they've agreed to let us use their parking lot for our events as well. So it's a good joint use that will benefit the city.
Anything else? Any questions for Barry?
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Chief Davis.
Just to touch on our quarter one report, which is about risk reduction for Main Street fire. This is it's not really an update as much as information for you so that you guys can look at different opportunities that we can have moving forward should you choose to use any of them. Going from basically, obviously, we can do nothing. From there, as far as expense and difficulty goes, you guys are hopefully handling one of those things tonight, which is keeping up with codes and then performing inspections. One of the things that we at the fire department have wanted to do for the longest time is to be able to redo inspections in certain areas. Certainly not every single one, but either high risk or areas that are at risk for a high risk of high loss of life, high numbers of loss of life. Obviously, downtown, for example, would be high risk because they're attached in the way that they're attached. Other options that may assist are Knox boxes. For those of you that aren't familiar with Knox boxes, these are an opportunity to work in conjunction with, say, alarm systems. Early warning, it's for us. So you go to Knox box, there is a specific box that is for Enterprise Fire Department. They send that to you. You can attach that. We come by, you can place either information or a key that allows us to get quick entry into your store, right? Or they even have them residential. It can be anything. The benefit of that is basically if we are not seeing a true emergency, we know that there's an alarm or something going off, but we're not visually able to see anything, we have the ability and the time to utilize our key, open that up, gain entry, make contact. Instead of our only option is we can't wait, so we have to obviously destroy a door. Excuse me. This is something that a lot of new construction is using. Obviously, in great deal, they also have versions of these boxes that allow for emergency shutoff for power. The biggest part of these is that they're best used in conjunction with an alarm system, right? If we get a call after it has gotten to the point that it's seen from the street or elsewhere, chances are it has a head start on us. So the next level,
which describes what happened recently, right?
Certainly, absolutely. By the time we were aware of it, it had already broken through. It was no longer a fuel limited fire, or event limited fire, but a fuel limited fire. In conjunction with close proximity of other buildings. Alarm systems, I think many of you are business owners. You may or may not be surprised that they're not mandatory in all structures, depending on the occupancy classification or the business classification. So there's a lot that don't have them. If a business is mandated by their classification, they have to meet NFPA regulations. If they're not, obviously they don't have to have it, but that doesn't mean that they can't still utilize an alarm system, something that's closer to a residential system, but could still give us a head start. Once it's gotten past us, once it's already started running away, that's where there's a real concern. I would think that would be one of the most effective ways, barring the next topic, which would have a lot of business owners wanting to hunt me down, which is talking about sprinkler systems. Obviously, sprinkler systems in construction where it's mandated is important. The idea of trying to retrofit every single business on downtown Main Street would probably put most of the businesses, or at least damage their business or put them out of business. That is but it is something that we need to talk about on the far side of this, whether it's sprinkler systems or in specific instances like if there's a residential unit or something like that. Residential units are the highest number of fires nationwide. So is that something that we would want to look at if there's going to be a residential unit That may not seem like a lot, but of all fires between, I believe it's 2015 and 2019, 70% of those are residential units. Partially because in a business, a mercantile, something like that, people are there the entire time. They witness something, they notice something. There's not generally cooking going on or something like that. So residential units are obviously scary. They increase risk. And that pretty much covers the primaries that we could be looking at. And I got to speak with Councilman Townsend the other day. And basically he said that this was just hopefully the beginning of a conversation. And I hope that's what it is. Obviously, we don't want to damage anybody's business, but when we lose one of these structures, we don't get it back, and at its age, that's a real concern. That and the fact that the age of these buildings and the partition wall that's between them, rarely do we have a fire in one and not receive damage to at least one other. So it's not just one at a time; it's two or more.
And this time we had 4.
Well,
2 destroyed, or
Correct.
3 destroyed, I guess.
True.
3 tenants, and then the
3
adjacent
businesses. 2 of them were owned by the same, but
Right.
yes, there was an opening between them, obviously. Correct.
Okay.
And that's something we don't want to see. But the earlier we can get notice, obviously, the better we can do. And if you have any questions at all, please. That's a favorite topic of mine. I'm more than happy to do research and get you information.
All right, any questions of?
No,
of
I'm
Chief
just glad
Evans?
we're being vigilant and being proactive and not reactive.
Absolutely.
God forbid if that happened in the middle of the street. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
That's scary.
Anything else for Chief Davis? All right, yeah. So, our Q and goal was simply to have the council work with the fire chief to consider downtown early warning measures. Of course, this was a brief, and like Chief said, this is the beginning of a conversation. We will discuss next steps at our next council meeting. So, thank you, Chief. Any other staff reports, Leanne?
Really super quick. We have, as we know, we've discussed it the last couple of council meetings, that we've used switched our tax administration over to the Alabama Department of Revenue. We have had a lot of contact from taxpayers and business owners here, both in the city and in the PJ, because our contract with Avenue had run its course, and so they've been trying to file the returns and everything during the month of March. And they've contacted us saying that they're not able to file through Avenue. So I just, again, wanted to say publicly that we have officially switched that over to the Department of Revenue. Taxpayers should have gotten notification in the mail with instructions to them on how they can go online and with Matt and get their returns filed. But always, regardless of the circumstances, they can always reach out to us here in the revenue office, and we will make sure that we get them help and get them in the right direction on where they need to get those filed. And they can also look on the Department of Revenue's website, and there will be more instructions there. The official notice from the city stating that we've switched over, and some instructions on what they would need to do moving forward. But like I said, as always, they're welcome to call here at the city, to call the revenue office and talk with us, and we will make sure that we help them out. So,
All right. Thank you, Leanne. Any questions? All right. Any more staff reports? All right. We will move on to old business. So we've got a lot of old business here. First item is to review and consider ordinance 030723. So I'll preface this. All of these ordinances dealing with codes, we had public hearings at the last council meeting, and so there will be no public hearings on these tonight. So we're just going to run through all of these. So I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 030723, providing to adopt the International Building Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975, as amended. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723A to adopt International Residential Code 2021 edition with appendices. A call for consideration of ordinance 030723A, providing to adopt International Residential Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723A. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723B to adopt National Electrical Code 2020 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723B, providing to adopt the National Electrical Code 2020 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723B. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723C to adopt International Fire Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723C, providing to adopt the International Fire Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723C. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723D to adopt International Fuel Gas Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723D, providing to adopt the International Fuel Gas Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723D. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723E to adopt International Existing Building Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723E, providing to adopt the International Existing Building Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723E. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723F to adopt International Swimming Pool and Spa Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723F, providing to adopt the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723F. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723G to adopt International Property Maintenance Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723G, providing to adopt the International Property Maintenance Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723G. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723H to adopt International Plumbing Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723H, providing to adopt the International Plumbing Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8, Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I All right, with a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723H. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider ordinance 030723I to adopt International Mechanical Code 2021 edition with appendices. I call for consideration of ordinance 030723I, providing to adopt the International Mechanical Code 2021 edition by reference as provided by Title 1145-8 Code of Alabama 1975 as amended. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 030723I. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now move on to new business. We'll introduce a planning commission recommendation. I introduce for the record a recommendation from the Enterprise Planning Commission to approve the following request for the rezone of property. A request by North Star Engineering Services Incorporated on behalf of NERAC LLC for the rezoning of 0.624 acres of land from B1 Business District and R100 Residential District to B1 Business District located at 309 Sylvan Drive. We'll introduce ordinance 032123 for the NERAC LLC rezone. I introduce ordinance 032123 providing for the rezone of 0.624 acres of land owned by NERAC LLC from B1 Business District and R100 Residential District to B1 Business District located at 309 Sylvan Drive. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for April 18th, 2023. There'll be no action taken on this tonight. Move on to review and consider resolution 032123, which is to appoint board of directors for the Public Building Authority. I introduce and call for consideration of resolution 032123, providing to appoint the board of directors of the Public Building Authority of the City of Enterprise as follows: Whit Armstrong for a term of 2 years, beginning April 10th, 2023, and ending April 10th, 2025. Joe Paul Stewart for a term of 2 years, beginning April 10th, 2023, and ending April 10th, 2025. Robin Thompson for a term of 4 years, beginning April 10th, 2023, and ending April 10th, 2027. Mary Merritt for a term of 4 years, beginning April 10th, 2023, and ending April 10th, 2027. Julian Boyd for a term of 6 years, beginning April 10th, 2023, and ending on April 10th, 2029. Rodney Thornton for a term of 6 years, beginning April 10th, 2023, and ending on April 10th, 2029. Are there any additional nominations for the Public Building Authority? Hearing none, we will close nominations. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the slate of nominees that I've read.
So moved.
Second.
All right. In addition, this will adopt resolution 032123. Can I get a motion for that also?
So moved on that.
Second.
All right. So a motion and a second to adopt resolution 032123. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. My apologies on that. We'll now review and consider resolution 032123A for the CEC agreement speculative building. Introduce and call for consideration of resolution 032123A, providing to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute a promissory note and loan agreement with Covington Electric Cooperative Incorporated in the amount of $1,350,000 related to the construction of a hangar building at the Enterprise Municipal Airport. If the loan is paid back according to its terms, the loan is a no-interest loan. I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 032123A.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 032123A. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with the All-In Credit Union car sale. I call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement on behalf of the City of Enterprise with All-In Credit Union to hold their annual car sale April 20th through 22nd, 2023 on the grounds next to the Enterprise Civic Center. Do I hear a motion to grant this authorization?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant authorization to the mayor to execute this agreement. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll now authorize the police chief to execute an agreement with Alabama Power Flock Safety Equipment. So I'll call for a motion to authorize the police chief to execute an agreement with Alabama Power Company for flock safety equipment at an estimated monthly cost of $1,604.19 with a one-time upfront payment of $750. Is there a motion to grant this authorization?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? All right, hearing no second, we'll move on to authorize the mayor to execute Poly Incorporated Task Order number 53 for the multi-purpose recreational complex phase 1. A call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute task order number 53 to Poly Incorporated for construction phase services for the Enterprise multi-purpose recreational complex phase 1. Do I hear a motion to grant this authorization?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to grant the mayor authorization to execute this task order. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider authorizing the mayor to execute Poly Incorporated Task Order number 54 for PV Park Multipurpose Sports Complex Phase 2. I call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute task order number 54 to Poly Incorporated for engineering design and bidding phase services for the PV Park Multipurpose Sports Complex Phase 2. Do I hear a motion to grant this authorization?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to grant authorization to the mayor to execute this task order. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider this request for permission to seek bids for the pickleball complex phase 1. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Billy Powell, Director of Community Services and Recreation, to seek bids for phase 1 construction of a new pickleball complex on George C. Wallace Drive. Phase 1 of the complex will include 8 new pickleball courts. Do I hear a motion to grant this request for permission?
So moved.
Second.
All right, with a motion and a second to seek bids. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now introduce and call for consideration of request from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to seek bids on a new aircraft storage hangar to be located at the Enterprise Municipal Airport. The new hangar will have dimensions of 130 feet by 105 feet. Do I hear a motion to grant this request?
So moved.
Second.
All right, with a motion and a second to grant the request to seek bids. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider this request for permission to seek bids regarding police department vehicles. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Police Chief Michael Moore to seek bids for 3 2023 Dodge Durango Pursuit Package all-wheel drive vehicles or 3 2023 Dodge Charger Police Package all-wheel drive vehicles or a combination of both. Do I hear a motion to grant this request?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to grant the request to seek bids on police department vehicles. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider volunteer police roster approval. Introduce and call for consideration of a request from Human Resources Director Christina Meissner to approve the following list of volunteer police officers and chaplains as required by the city's liability insurance carrier. Reserve officers June Ma, Jason Barnes, Matthew Lee, Jonathan Oldham, and Albert Mitchell. Chaplains Fox Fleming and Leon Adams. Do I hear a motion to approve this volunteer police roster?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider a request for permission to reinitiate a road closure for Simmons Street. Introduce and call for consideration of request from Police Chief Michael Moore to reinitiate the road closure of Simmons Street from 7:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. during the dates that school is in session to facilitate the safe crossing of students at the Enterprise Career and Technical Center. Do you hear a motion to grant this request?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. Chief, you want to brief us on this since we didn't?
Well, one thing that's not very plain there, it says that you're Simmons Street. It's only a very short one block.
Yes, sir. That's
We
so
used
where
to
the
do this,
school
right?
is. College Elementary used to be in the back. They used to close the road with like almost a cattle gate, and all it's going to prevent is people whenever the kids cross from ECTC to park because they have to park in the dirt parking lot across the street. It just prevents people from driving through there. So whenever the kids exit where the cattle gate is, they'll exit on this side of the cattle gate to go this way, and then on the other side they'll exit to go the other way. Just prevents people from opening up, and going really fast there.
We did this for years and years.
Years for College Elementary because that's where the buses would park and everything else and pick up the kids. The school system is asked to reinitiate that so the kids, whenever they leave and they run out to their vehicles, that they're not looking both ways and cars are traveling back and forth. The kids are leaving and not watching, and they feel like that is going to prevent some of the melee of people getting hit.
It just should have been worded a little differently. So a portion of Simmons Street, we're not closing the whole street.
No, sir, that's correct. It's
so
not
we've got
being
didn't you give us a map?
Yes.
Some pictures. Yeah, we're just going to close those gates.
Just where that one gate is, and I've talked to Mr. Mott, and we'll redo that bar so it's more visible. People know that it's being closed. It's just that one bar there.
Yeah.
And the school said that they will be responsible for opening it and closing it whenever the school begins and the school ends. And we'll certainly put a press out to let the residents know. But there's nobody on that where we're closing. There's nobody that lives over there.
Right.
It's just right past it. So.
Any other questions for Chief Moore or discussion amongst the council? All right. We've got a motion and a second on the floor to grant this request to reinitiate the road closure of Simmons Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll now consider a street closure request from Public Works. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to temporarily close the following streets for maintenance and repairs. East College Street from Main Street to the alley for sewer repairs, March 27th to 31st, 2023. And Main Street from Dolphin Street to Pittman Street to repair the railroad tracks from March 27th to 31st, 2023. I'll entertain a motion to grant this request.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I know this is during spring break, right, Barry? So there'll be no bus traffic. That's right at the high school.
That's
obviously.
correct. So we try to pick this week because we'd have no bus traffic and the schools will be out. But both of these, if you don't mind, the East College, we need to get that sewer line repaired, but they're also going to be paving that East College Street. So the contractor's coming right behind us. When we get through with the sewer, they're going to pave that section of East College. That's why we
That's what
blocked
this
it out.
map is for, right?
That is correct.
Y'all should have a map.
There's two maps there. One of them is for the one on East College shows we're just doing the sewer work between the alley and Main Street, but they're going to pave College all the way down to the end while we have that section closed during that week. There'll be the least traffic to get that road done. The other one is the railroad crossing is very, very rough. So we're looking to get in there. We think we can do it way quicker than a week, but we just requested an entire week to get that railroad crossing reworked. And that's in coordination with the railroad and AlDOT.
And I assume AlDOT's on board.
Yes, sir. They're on board with it.
And Sessions is aware of what's going on.
We're going to sit down with Sessions and show them that what we're doing, and what we're planning on doing is to put a barricade there, but staff it with a person. So if they need to get truck traffic through there, we will open it up and let them through. We just got to shut down that railroad crossing right there where the crossing is.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion regarding this street closure request? All right, we have a motion and a second to grant this request to close the street for public works. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I will now consider approval of art concept from the Main Street Incubator. I introduce and call for consideration a request from Main Street Director Mariah Montgomery to approve the art concept for the Main Street Enterprise Pop-Up Incubator as submitted, and of course discussed in the work session prior. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mayor, you have a report for us?
City of Enterprise is mostly water that needed the Fort Rucker Wiregrass Chapel Association of the United States Army. On Tuesday, April 11th, Major General Malcolm Curran will be the guest speaker. Business owners and association, city club members, church leaders, and local residents advised to attend the event, which starts at 11:30 at the Enterprise Civic Center. Tickets are available to purchase through AUSA. Thank you to everyone who participated in the 6th annual Oscar 12 Day of Service in Enterprise. It truly was wonderful to see so many people in there Saturday morning working to make our city a better place. Special thanks to our engineering and public works department for their help in this event. This Saturday, the Spring Festival at the Monument. We are looking forward to the Easter Hat Parade and contest. We hope that you will come down and do some shopping and support all the local businesses that are participating. Again, while you are downtown, please pay attention to those barricades. They are there for your safety. Pedestrians are reminded to use the sidewalks only across Main Street from designated crosswalks. Special thanks to the council and city leaders for their support of last Friday's staff development. Our employees seem to have had a great time, and we appreciate all of the businesses that also contributed to the event. I would also like to recognize the folks in our engineering and fire departments and their hard work on getting these new codes adopted. Months of hard work went into this process, and I truly believe this is just the start of increasing safety and building requirements throughout our city. Tonight, council also approved some road closures for areas in and around downtown. Keep an eye out for these maps and the other information on our city website and city Facebook. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Rich?
Good evening to everyone, and I certainly want to thank our engineering department, as Mayor stated, for helping us to be able to adopt our codes on tonight. It's a lot of hard work put into that. Also to, I think it was Southeast Construction, is that Mr. Jeff? I think he's gone, but certainly thank him for working with our city workers to help our citizens on David and Clay Road.
Mr. Goolsby?
I would also like to thank everyone who participated in the Oscar Club's Day of Service last Saturday. A lot of big projects, a lot of small projects, a lot of just, helping a neighbor or whatever. There was a total of about 450 people participated. And we thank the city for their participation, providing the dumpsters, etc. Allie Mahan, I had a call this afternoon about the festival this weekend. Said there were several water meter boxes on the sidewalks of Main Street that either the lids were busted or missing. I told him we would certainly try to take care of them. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Paget?
Thank everyone for coming. I think we got an awful lot accomplished tonight, and very proud to see the young volunteers getting involved in our city, doing things that benefit others besides just themselves. It's an amazing thing to see when young people start doing those sorts of volunteer works, and it sets them up for a lifetime of those kind of acts as they continue on. I was out of town for the day of service, but I saw a lot of pictures, and I'd like to thank all those that worked really hard to make our city a better place this last weekend.
Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and thank you for all those citizens that are watching us online. And I'll echo too with the youngsters that we have around town helping out for downtown, but also on the day of service, there was several hundred of those people were kids, were young football players, church youth groups. So again, our youth are out there helping their city. And the engineering department, thank you for these codes coming from 2009 to 2021. It's awesome to see, and just thank you for all you guys do and gals down in that office. Thank you. Sir.
All right. Yeah, y'all probably tired of hearing from me tonight, so I'll keep my comments brief. Now, I enjoyed the employee event last week. Thank Christina, and I don't want to go down a list. I know a lot of people helped you with that. I would leave some out if I tried to rattle off a list, but much deserved to our employees. I hope we make those types of events a tradition, because it looked like everybody was having fun and some good team building experiences. So we are adjourned. We'll see you in a couple weeks. We got a bunch of sign here. Beverly, we signing all these blues.